Prepare yourselves for battle, heroes.
Hey everyone, this is Oldbackpac here, the tank player for the Gankbush squad, and in response to one of the comments on one of the videos on Dehaka, I'm showing my Dehaka video. So you'll notice at first this is a quick match game just because there is a Li Ming on both sides, and also Dehaka is a solo tank in this game, which is very rare. Dehaka should almost always be a second side soaked tank, just because he only has one form of CC in his tongue and no real other forms of peel for his team. So if the team is divey, which this opposing team is, they can just kind of walk past Dehaka and hit the back line. But it's quick match, so you do the best you can. But being as a solo, just to say, you'll notice that in the start of the game, I'm standing behind the wall. That's because it's just me. It's just Dehaka. I'm not going to gank anyone. My only goal is to soak the lane. And they only show Li Ming top. That means there may be 4 people down here. Or as I wrote, maybe 3. That forces me to play very, very safe. Like I said, the whole point of me being here is to just soak bottom lane. And when I was first doing this, I don't solo versus Artanis very often, so I didn't know how badly I would lose the lane. But as you can see, Artanis is winning a lot harder than I am. The only benefit is, being Dehaka, just walk behind the wall. When a new wave comes, you warp back in, and you lose 0 EXP. And I'm back, full health, without any form of EXP loss. That's what really matters. And what my goal here is now is just to drain his mana bar. Once he's out of mana, then I can actually, push the lane more aggressively against him. I have no actual fear of dying to Artanis because he has no real ways of locking me down. I can always just walk out. And so it makes me play somewhat aggressively in the lane, even though I'm losing it. So I know I can just basically Hearthstone back and then tunnel back in. And okay, so back to the build of Dehaka. Being the solo tank, you have to play a you have to put all of his sustain talents. You'll see that later in the game. But at level 1, you'd think, hey, if you want sustain, why not go with the regenerative tissue, which gives you more HP regen. It does give you more health, but the effective health you get from having a faster move speed is better than the actual health regen. Because having the fast move speed allows you to dodge skill shots, helps you run down heroes. It's just better for multiple reasons. You'll notice here that when I go into that team fight, I get kind of locked down because you don't have a lot of CC. But I still need to play somewhat aggressively. With us being ahead, I noticed that we have a man advantage, so I tunnel in aggressively. You notice I tunneled in to the right side of the map where the enemy team was. There may have been a Vala I could have caught. I didn't, but it was still worth trying. Noticing that we have number advantage, I go to defend our Immortal versus Artanis, because Artanis is very high DPS on the Immortal, and if I go there and harass him, then we're guaranteed to win the Immortal. Right here I notice that we're just trying to poke at them and to distract them from doing damage. That causes us to win. Once we've won, just get out. Being Dehaka, I have to side soak. Ideally, I should have ran top, but that would have killed me. And hence, I just went bottom. Now I can Hearth back, get full health, and then portal out. You can see that I ping top, because as Dehaka, you almost always want to be solo. I say this pretty often, but Dehaka is bad in team fights. He's not picked in the pro scene because of his ability to team fight well. He's picked because he's not supposed to team fight. His goal is to side soak, and when the enemy team has to respond to him, he has the option to tunnel out and to then harass. You'll notice here that when Sonya dove our towers, I didn't hit her, I hit the minion wave. Being a solo, you have to realize that you really want to clear the wave. And if you clear the wave, then the opposing hero can't siege your towers, because then the towers will focus him instead of the minions. So that's one way to actually stop a push from the opposing hero. Not to tap the hero, to tap the minions, thus causing the towers to refocus their targeting. After the Immortal has been pushed, you'll notice that the enemy team is off the map. They're gone. That means as the side soaked hero, you can't be shown on the minimap. You have to hide and basically soak as safely as possible until they show up again. There, you notice that the bottom reveals, means I can then soak the lane. So now I know where the enemy team is. I am safe to clear this lane. I know Zul Jin is up top fighting Zhonya, but he'll win that match easily. I can full soak it, and once Zhonya has to go back and soak the lane, I can then go help him with the champ. We take the champ, and with Zul Jin top, it's weird because he doesn't need to be here. And so I should be leaving this lane pretty quickly, just because I know that being here is a waste of my time. If Zul Jin wants to solo, let him happen. You notice the enemy team on the bottom just showed they pushed too far out. They passed halfway point. This means tunnel. It's an opportunity to engage on them, and now it's a 4v4. Notice I go straight for one of the squishy targets, which is the Karazim, and followed by the Liu Ming, essentially ignoring the Artanis, because Artanis is not a focus target for our team. However, the Malthael dies. With him dying, you have to back up and play defensive again. Just clear the lane. Ideally, Zul Jin would have been bottom, so then he would have been able to get stats on Yuan Ats, and also he needs the support. He needs help from the support. But he didn't. It's a quick match. So you have to say, okay, what can I do to help the team win? You notice that on the map, Malthael's not here yet. Liu Ming's harassing the Immortal. And so our job really is to just kind of, well, harass them a little bit. Just decrease their DPS. And with that, the team, you can see how they dive our backline right there. And I couldn't really stop it much. They just kept diving. I went bottom, the other two allies went top, and we lost it. This is mostly because we were split, and we really should have just grouped up and defended as a whole, but once again, quick match. I would argue that being the tank, I shouldn't have been there. My presence there somewhat validated their presence being there, which made them stay. And so that's actually my fault that we lost that fight. With the Immortal lost and the opposing team getting 10 really soon, you have to be passive. You can't actually engage upon them aggressively. So right here, Artanis is pushing out the lane. Once again, they have 10 and a huge wave behind him, so soaked safe. Wait for the Artanis to try to do his swap, because he likes doing it. And then once again, see, I'm clearing the lane. And then that will naturally push back the Artanis, because dealing damage to him is pointless because of his shield. So don't bother with it. Right here, I actually started going for the Artanis damage because I had listened to myself. And you'll just see how bad the matchup is versus Dehaka and Artanis. The sustain of the shielding is way too much.
We cannot rest in the face of victory.
But we're at 9.25 now, almost 9.5. We're doing okay. We can maybe get back to even footing. Once again, the enemy team has backed up and stopped showing on the map. Therefore, at the solo lane, you watch your flanks and you back up. The last thing you want to do is get ganked as the solo when you're at 9.5. So, backed up. With the top camp taken, you know where they are, which allows you to then push the lane again. And then they show, and then you push. Oh, it's a good thing to mention is that you should know how to clear lane. So with Dehaka, you have to know that 1 W and 2 auto tats will kill a backline minion. And here we'll go over the talents to show what I've done. There's enhanced agility, which is the de facto best talent for him, level 1. The level 7 was feeding frenzy, where you get CDR on auto tats, and 10 is adaptation. There's a bit of a decision to make between adaptation and isolation. Being the solo tank on this team, adaptation is absolutely necessary. You can't live without it. It's just because Dehaka's going to take a lot of damage being the frontliner. And that's actually what he does really well. His best asset isn't his ability to team fight well, he's just a huge damage sponge. He actually has 3 life bars. Here we see that Artanis is bottom, and they're pushing beyond the halfway point. It's time to engage with the 4v5. So, go straight for the back line on the Li Ming. Casting Adaptation to cancel out a lot of the damage. And then engage really hard. Unfortunately though, we lost the 4v5. Because they had 10 and we have 10, they have 13. But you'll notice how much damage Dehaka actually absorbed. He had a full health bar, went down to about a quarter of his health, adaptation kicked in, and then used the trait on D, so he had 3 health bars that were eaten right there. That's really his true potential, is just to absorb all the damage, and as that's happening, your other allies can then be effective. It was unfortunate that the Malthael died too soon to really capitalize on it, but the idea was there. So right now that we're fighting a talent advantage down, we should be backed up. So right here, you're gonna see me watching the flank, because that's what Dehaka should be doing in most cases. There, of course, Sonya also a flanker comes from the side, and we caught her during it. It's unfortunate that we didn't get the kill because we were spread on damage. And then Malthael dives in too deep, and he gets picked off. Once again, we're fighting down a talent tier, and it's not going too well. So now it's a full shield. Actually, here in the text, where you can see the Malthael flaming our Zul'jin for not doing him enough. Typical quick match. But here we get lucky, and the Artanis overextends for a swap, and we get a kill, which actually helps us save a good portion of the keep. With the numbers advantage, I burrow in really aggressively to the back line, initiate the fight. Start by casting Adaptation, thus making all that initial damage happen to me for my aggressive positioning not be detrimental. You'll notice that actually, hold on, let's go back there. Let's go back and let's see it. And we're back at the start of the fight. Here we'll see Artanis gets aggressive and he gets picked off for it. And once I see that, you notice that on the minimap I burrow into the back line, realizing we have an advantage. Ball is bottom, and we have a numbers advantage on them. So once again, straight for the squishy character onto the Kharazim. And the fight starts off with an adaptation, thus leading me to, I said, survive. With the hero kills, I then have more essence to use, and you notice that when I go for the flank on Li Ming, I go through the bush. That's how I can actually cut her off. Once I have the bush power, then I could very easily, run her down. Once again, then Vala goes in on Uther. And then you just have to go through the bushes and very gradually run her down. Okay, there's one auto, and a ton for the kill. Not too bad.
Still got it.
With three enemy team dead, I could have taken the camp, but it's a bit dangerous because Dehaka's really bad at camp clears. Well, not really bad, he's okay, but I would have been down to about 10% health, and Sonya's still on the map and could have ganked me. Instead, took the safe decision. So here we'll see, and there it is, Sonya just capped the top camp. If I had been there, she would have killed me. See? Safe play. However, with Sonya showing up top, with Artanis showing up top, he got it instead. You'll notice that Zul'jin is with me, even though he shouldn't be, because he should be with the team, and I should be the side soaking one. You notice that at the bottom, they are a talent tier down, but starting to initiate, and no one's showing top. So at bottom, they may even have 5, but since they dove in, I'm forced to burrow in and help the fight and initiate. Once again, go into the back line and ton a squishy target. Get the lockdown, and the damage is there to follow up. That was actually a very good play on Uther with the Divine Shield on Malthael. That's what won the team fight. I kind of just came in and cleaned up. Now that we have 16, we're on even talent here. 3 are dead. The idea is to push. Just push, push, push. Someone has to go top and clear top, which should be me, but I burrowed in, so I'm going to have to hearth and walk over there. Now there's the very sad, slow walk of Dehaka without a bush.
I must take up a new position.
If our team is smart, they'll watch the minimap and notice that I'm up top and I am clearing out this huge wave with the shamans and 3 catapults and a bruiser camp. You'll see just how hard they hit. They hit for getting down to half life. But the team wants to fight anyways, which forces me to burrow in, popping the trait. And unfortunately, we get killed. It's partially because I wasn't there, but I had responsibilities as the lane clear hero to clear top. They unfortunately decided to do a team fight without me, and it cost them the fight. But fortunately, Taz Dingo goes in there and pops his ultimate and trolls one of the heroes for a free kill. With just Lee being alive and me there, my job is to try to find her and defend our immortals. She would probably be poking ours, or off clearing lanes, but we don't know where she is, and I'm just kind of spending time to give sight. And now 2 are back, and the main shows. I'm doing my best to get a flank on her. You'll notice that we still have a numbers advantage. This is a good time for us to fight. We should be as aggressive as possible here. Unfortunately, all my cooldowns are already up, but we actually end up winning this fight. You notice that I'm really low right now, but all the hero kills is actually giving me essence in order to sustain longer. With Vol still being active, I decided to engage upon her, and I got a lucky tongue, and I almost killed her. And actually, a good thing to notice is that Dehaka hits really hard. You'll notice that Vol went from full health to basically 10% left with just Dehaka with a W and a auto tats. One of the important things to realize in that fight is that Dehaka can auto attack while the target is being tongued. And it's really important to do that because with level 7 talent of the Feeding Frenzy, you get CDR on your tongue. So you have to land the tongue, auto, then move, then auto attack. This gives you a 4-second cooldown on the tongue. Really important. I can't stress enough how important it is to auto attack the heroes that you have CC'd with the tongue. It's invaluable. The only time you wouldn't do that is when you absolutely need to drag the opposing hero as far away as possible. There are times when that happens, but it was almost a solo Dehaka versus Vala. I wasn't dragging her anywhere. I just needed to get damage in. Yeah, so let's see the talents. You'll realize that we have 20 first, which is very important. So at 13, there's Primal Swarm, which is kind of his de facto best talent at 13. At 16, there's Tunneling Claws. It's on par with the ability of come on brain, Extended Tongue. But at 20, you'll see I got a very unusual talent, Essence Claws. Dehaka, who's supposed to be a side soaker, needs to have the cooldown on Burrow. But I'm the solo tank. I need sustain. We're having really long team fights where I'm auto-attacking a lot of heroes. That means I'll get more health back per auto-attack, giving me much more sustain. And so that's what I took. It also slows the enemy hero, making them harder to run from you, giving you more CC to actually deal damage. It's not common, but in this situation, it was necessary. And with these long, drawn-out team fights, it gets a lot of value, as you'll see pretty soon. Here's Uther saying we have 20, we should fight, and I fully agree with this. Unfortunately, only me and Taz Dingo are here. Uther joins in, but it's still a 4v3. which fortunately has them back up. Also, Terazim is showing top. This is a great opportunity to engage. We just don't have the CC for it. Malakil tries really hard to force the fight, but unfortunately, we don't have any CC. Me being the only tank, if I'm not getting a ton, they just walk away. So here, as my ranged DPSs do their damage to the walls, notice that I'm actually hovering here in the flank. I'm doing this to make sure that the Sonya, who just showed herself now, and the Terazim don't come from behind. So that is anchoring. It helps, gives the team sight so they know that it's safe so they have a safe area above them. That's another play that's woefully underused in the lower levels of anchoring and giving sight and scouting. So once again, the objective happens, but the mercenary camp is pushing. So as the Dehaka, you have to clear this. That camp will push the core, and the team comes and clears it, which is okay. We actually sacrificed the first half of our Immortal's health in order to clear this top lane, which has been a problem for us the whole game. There you'll see I actually use the bush right there. It's actually faster to walk into bushes like that, just for the move speed. Now we wait and defend. The Artanis initiates, and I immediately pop the adaptation, giving me a huge amount of health. Once you fear this death, you cast Burrow, thus giving you a way to have the adaptation pop. And here you'll notice that all the value getting off the trait, I'm healing off of all of these kills and all these auto tats. I used this trait for max value twice in that team fight. I can even use it again to get basically a 4th health bar. And here we'll notice that the Leomings try to escape and make that a pentakill with the aggressive Burrow. If we were a more coordinated team, the remaining 4 of us would have took down a keep by ourselves before the Immortal. But we're not that focused, and we just take the easy Immortal. It's the safe play to do. You'll see here that Leoming learned Archon. Not bad on this map, but when damaging the Immortal, it's the wrong talent to have up, because the Archon does less damage than her other spells and abilities. With the core under attack, I wanted to go back and defend it, but Malthael decided to do it. Bit rough for us. He's our main DPS, but the 4 of us will do the best we can on the push. We should play safe. So as the Dehaka, I can't really be. It's a waste to be in the front line just because I can't do much. And that was a mistake on my part. You'll notice that when I died, I had Burrow up and a full essence. That should never happen. Ever. If you ever have a fear of death, the first thing you should do is Burrow, and then immediately pop your essence. Then you'll heal as you're underground. So that was just a mistake. You'll even notice that I wrote "my bad" as soon as it happened, because I knew I messed up. And there went our huge push for the keep. And even the Malthael who came late, he gets caught out. But since he realizes he can't actually leave, he goes for the kill. He actually trades, which is really good for him to trade a 2v1. With now 4 men dead, the enemy team goes for a core push. They can probably get it. Only problem is that Terazim died at the bottom, which really hurts their sustain. With the core being pushed, you should go for the damage dealers first, namely the Leomings and the Valas. Sonya, kinda, but Vala's much higher DPS, so you focus him first. Notice that Sonya is going to die. I flank behind to verify that she can't run away. So if Sonya had backed up instead of re-engaging, I would have been able to chase her down and, well, confirm the kill. Now we have numbers advantage. Our goal now should be straight for keep. We have a keep at 20%. we have 4v2. It's a straight keep push. Being Dehaka, I could have went top to take care of the side soak, but I really wanted to get this keep down. Keeps down. You'll notice that we got what we wanted. They're going to res soon. Our goal should be to get the Immortal down to halftime show, while we still have numbers advantage. You'll see that I'm pathing rather aggressively here because we can. We have numbers. And so once we're in halftime show, I immediately go to the bushes to start anchoring for the team to give a sight on where the enemy team may show up. With them here, we know where they are. I can then initiate with the adaptation. With it up, you immediately CC the squishy target. And now it becomes more of a scramble. With the CC, with the squishy now dead, you realize that it was Dehaka fighting a Vala. That's a bad fight. And so I immediately go to the support who's being chased by Artanis. Now it's a 3v2, and we really can't win this by ourselves. And there was a lucky ton, which gives us a kill on Vala, which is really, really important. Then Uther and Dehaka beat a Vala. Once again, start fighting Sonya, but you realize that Uther is getting chased down, and as bad as the PL is, you gotta do it. And now it's a 2-on-1. And there, right there you'll see just how important those auto tats are in the in the drags. So during every drag, and 2 auto tats were done, which made the drag happen so much faster that I was able to peel Uther with 2 back-to-back tons on an Artanis, who would have killed him otherwise. With that team fight over, it's essentially push with the Immortal for the win, or push Tor for the win. The team chooses to go Tor, and I bro in and follow them. This should be a somewhat easy push, and you'll see that Dehaka doing the best he can to actually zone and keep the enemy team away from the damage dealers. So adaptation gets popped, and all the damage comes. Once you approach death, burrow, pop the trait, and continue to take damage. So right there, that was 3 health bars that were taken, and I'm still surviving. And that ends up in the GG. So just to recap, the Dehaka is usually just side soaks the whole time. He's terrible at team fighting until he has to. But in a quick match like this, you have to realize, how can you win? And with our team comp, Dehaka being a solo tank, face tanking up front is really, really hard because they had a Li Ming and a Vala. They would have just poked me down before I ever actually was able to reach them. Instead, I would always burrow aggressively behind them and then force them to focus me with adaptation up. Then they focus their damage onto the Dehaka. You survive with adaptation, and you force the survival by pressing in burrow when you think you'll die. Once that happens, you can then stay very aggressively positioned and then press D to continue being a tank. You're essentially positioning yourself so far into their team they have to focus you, making you a priority target. And once they do that, your team can then move forward. You might die, but you'll probably win the team fight, which happened towards the end game. Once I was able to burrow more aggressively into their team and really force their focus onto me. And so with that, I want to say thank you for listening, and please suggest more heroes. I love doing viewer recommendations. So yeah, ask me what tank you want to see, and I'll do it. Thank you very much. See you in the Nexus.